what a preposition is.
So maybe we're given too many tools. Is that what we're saying?
Sometimes you're given tools for problems you don't have to solve. You don't need to solve.
It all comes down to trust. And do we trust each other, number one? And do we trust the naturalness of self-constructing and learning, number two? And we don't trust either one of them. And so what we do to save ourselves from that is we make up, okay, this is what everybody has to do to be good, and these are the rules we have to follow so everybody's safe.
Yeah, now here's a
argument.
useful little phrase, a useful little term. It's called goal displacement, and it's a big problem in the technical business, so I've had to learn what it means. Goal displacement is what happens when somebody has a problem they want to solve, and so they think, how am I going to solve that problem, and they figure out a way to do it. But then they keep doing that even in situations where it doesn't get them to the goal. And a perfect example, canonical example, is there are some restaurants like Denny's sometimes is like this, where they put so much salt into the salt shakers, I guess so that they don't run out of salt, right? You always have salt, so fill up the salt shaker, right? But there's so much salt that you can't get any salt out because it's all jammed up. So the idea of make sure that people can get salt is displaced by this idea of fill up the salt shakers. Similarly, if somebody says, well, I think people should learn Spanish because it's important to know another language because it expands your mind in interesting ways. And so then they make a goal that says you have to take so-and-so units of language, foreign language. And then someone comes around who actually already speaks two languages, and they go, well, but the rule is you have to take, language. So, Christian, now you have to learn French. But wait, the goal was to encourage people to learn two languages because that has some benefit to your brain. He already does that. He's achieved the goal. So he doesn't need to play that game to do that. That's a perfect example of goal displacement, where people forget what the goal originally was. And even though the goal is being met, they're not letting people be, flexible and achieve those in different ways.
Why are we even saying, I think a main goal is success. But not only are we saying that's a goal, we're defining what success is for every individual. And I think that's where we're falling short.
Yeah, that is really hard to do. It's hard to get out of that. Because for me, success has to do with knowing a lot about computers, reading a lot. That's mathematics is important to my success. My son is bad at mathematics. It's hard for me to accept that.
But a lot of parents who are really struggling with school and all of this right now, their heart goal is that their kid would be happy. But what they're doing every night is battling to get the homework done, to get the grades, and pushing them to do this, and trying to earn the money to send them to college, when that isn't even their goal, that they would get through college to have a job, to have money. They would much rather their kid was happy than their kid was rich and very depressed.
That's where I'm lucky, and I know that because I'm able to find things that I'm passionate about, like these little kids, because my parents don't ask me about my grades. My parents will get notices and be like, you're failing this, and my mom will say, just work on that.
How much do you work with the kids?
I work with them every day for about an hour and a half.
Okay, does anyone else work with those kids?
Bill Red, teacher.
Okay, now how do you get along with him?
He's incredible. He's a really nice man.
Does he respect you?
Yes.
All right, now that is one of the keys to happiness. The feeling of being respected. The feeling that when you enter the building, that people know who you are, that they want to see you there, and that you are helping. I hate that phrase, make a difference. I guess lots of people use it. But it's not just making a difference. You can hurt people and make a difference. But to make a positive difference, to help people, to be useful, to feel in your soul that you're useful.
Because whenever he refers to me, he's always uses Miss Erin or Miss Mahalchek, and those kind of things that make me feel like I'm an adult in the room.
That is the key to happiness right there, is the feeling of being useful. To me, that is just the key to happiness. And that's why people like my wife toils and raises a child and all that, and she takes care of my business, she does all that, but she feels useful, and all I have to do is give her a little appreciation every day. She's like a car that runs on an ounce of gasoline and goes 400 miles. I give her like a little thank you, and she's like, she's great. It's because I've figured that out, I can be married for 20 years and have it work.
Yeah.
When you know the few little secrets to what it is that makes people feel happy. They need to feel important. They need to feel valued. They need to feel useful.
And see, I think that's why in the end, again, I don't think that we need a huge change. I think a lot of teachers are already going to be doing the same thing. They'll just have different clientele
Yeah.
in their room. But in order for another huge percentage of the teachers to buy into this, I think they are not doing, at this point in time, they are not doing their heart, soul mission in life. They started a direction, and now because of curriculum and a whole bunch of other things, they go in every day not doing what they plan to do, you know. So I think we were talking about how to help other people in the public education system not feel like this is a threat to them, but it's an aid to them.
I feel like that's a good point too, though, and with both of what you just said, feeling useful as a teacher even makes the child, whoever's learning, feel like they're becoming an equal. So it's like them feeling like they are so, I don't know what word I'm looking for at all.
Listen to, you're a colleague.
Respect.
You're doing it together.
It's respect.
Yeah.
And that, it's really what it is respect. And
Respect is a very powerful drug. Very, very powerful. It's much more powerful than money.
Mm-hmm.
I used to want money to be an incentive to me, but it just isn't. I mean, I want people to pay me money, but I would be paid money and still not want to do the thing that they were paying me to do. And it's a terrible thing when you get paid for something and you still don't want to do it. And you know you want the money, so you're trying to make yourself do it. I kept burning out until I realized I needed to find a situation where I would feel respected, and then they would also give me money. And then that's the thing. Then I could work.
I think a piece of it too is we've been duped by ourselves and everything. The reason we have a lot of the money is for medical bills, for car bills, for a whole bunch of different things that if we did school differently and if we played out our life differently, I don't think we would have the health problems. I don't think we would need the extra cars. So not only do I think that this helps individually, I think overall it's going to help us not need as much money.
Well, yeah, I think that's a real subtle thing, but I think school does sort of encourage a vision of adulthood, which involves spending a lot of money on stuff.
Well, if our goal is to go to school, to get a good job, to get money.
That's really what the goal of school is too. It's to teach you how to make money in the real world.
What if we decide money isn't our goal? What if we decide that we don't need as much money if we're happier?
That's a big thing to change though. That's like, would you rather be poor and happy or rich and
I told my son,
unhappy?
That I would be really unhappy if he did drugs. But I would actually have him kidnapped and brought to a detox facility if he goes into debt. Debt is more dangerous to me than drugs. I've been in debt most of my adult life, and it has kept me from doing lots of things that I could otherwise have done. But I have to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So I have $265,000 of book business for next year alone. Right now, which is my best year. It will be my best year ever, and it hasn't even begun yet. And this is my best year so far in my 11 years that I've been in business for myself.
What did you spend the most money on when
Debt.
you got in debt? What did it come from?
Oh, well, the very first thing I went into debt for was I bought encyclopedias. I wanted to have encyclopedias. I always wanted a set of encyclopedias. That's the first thing I put on my credit card. I bought books, and I mean, I can look at it and say, well, I did things. I took opportunities that were important opportunities. I learned to fly, and there's various things. But there's a terrible cost long term to debt, and I just want my son not to suffer with that from that. I want my son to be able to live on $30,000 a year comfortably if he wants, because then he can do anything he wants. You could try a bunch of jobs out and not get paid very much. But for me, I just don't have that